Eric admitting to taking performance-enhancing drugs has now been deleted from the video. But thanks to the internet, I have the footage right here.
What are they saying? You got groomed?
Yeah.
Are you ready for this? Coach Greg, and in today's video, Eric English accidentally exposes himself as a fake natty. I do believe that most people already knew that he wasn't natural, but it's one thing for people to speculate and another for the person to actually admit to it.
How tall are you now, bro?
Bro, I'm like 5'11".
Hey, y'all don't see how
fair,
hard this
bro.
motherfucker trains, bro. How much you weigh right now?
I'm like 230.
230? Yeah. Are you still bulking or are you cutting?
I'm like maintaining right now.
And so he's 5'11", 230 pounds, and several months ago, he was what, 180, perhaps 190? He's not bulking, he's not cutting, he's just maintaining.
Like, what's the heaviest you've been?
I've been 240.
Let's just examine who he's in the room with. I've said in previous videos, you are like your 5 closest friends. If his friends are also teenagers and on performance-enhancing drugs, what are the odds that he's going to continue to be natural? A lot lower than if his friends were all natty. I don't need to point out the fact that most of these people, at least half, are clearly on performance-enhancing substances, and so that will obviously increase the likelihood that Eric is not going to stay natty.
This trip is really influencing me to hop back on.
Now that would stipulate that he was on formerly. But in a matter of a few hours of hanging out with people who are openly on gear, it's influencing to also want to hop on. Trust me, if everyone around you is talking about testosterone and trend and making gains and putting on muscle and looking swole, then how are you going to be the one man left out? And so if you don't want to get caught up in things like this, it's best to try to have the majority of friends who have the same values, logic, the way you think as you do.
Wait, you got big from like Greens Plus, right? Like green supplements?
Do you eat your spinach?
It's all about like spinach.
Spinach, yeah.
And then like taking your creatine, that's how you do it.
And so, of course, he's a natty vegan. It was from taking creatine, doing greens. It's all a joke. I mean, how obvious is it that these individuals are all on performance-enhancing drugs?
That makes you degenerate.
Fuck. So you're just like fucked if you do that shit. Like,
Yeah, like
it's like doing like bag, like coke.
It's like liver failure, heart attack.
I mean, just the subject material at that age. When I was 15, 16 years of age, there was no discussion of sniffing creatine. There was no, oh, I'm not going to do that. I won't do this. I won't do that. There was no discussion of it whatsoever. I didn't have any friends that were sniffing creatine. I didn't even have people doing creatine for that matter. And I'm not even joking. Creatine wasn't even invented. We didn't use that until I was in university. And so there were people that were smoking the greens. There were people drinking alcohol. But essentially that was about it. There were no friends of mine who were using steroids. Even to the gym that I went to, there were perhaps 2 bodybuilders that had larger muscles, were doing competitions that were on steroids. And so I had no temptation. How hard was it for teenage Coach Greg to stay natural when I had no friends and knew nobody who was using performance-enhancing drugs? It was easy. Compare that to today, where you have social media at your fingertips. You perhaps know Eric English. You can send him a DM. You can go and meet in person. You can collab. And before you know it, you're on Team Young LA. Perhaps you're sponsored, where many of their athletes are abusing performance-enhancing drugs, promoting gambling, and even using recreational substances.
So just like stay natural, don't touch that stuff.
It's like
And so stay natural, don't touch that stuff. You saw how quickly he went to a smile, to a laugh, if you will, upon saying to stay natural. He couldn't keep it in.
Yo, what's like the safest, most natural shit I could take to get big like you, son?
Just gotta eat a lot of eggs.
All right, eggs. Well, that's gonna increase my test levels to like 4,000.
And so, of course, they suggest you eat some eggs, that's going to increase your size to the level of Eric English, who added 100 pounds to his bench press in a matter of months, who can bench press over 405 pounds, which is absolutely ridiculous.
You guys wanted his cycle, and now you got it, so there we go. Cycle? What cycle are you talking about, bro? The fucking, like, the vitamin cycle, like the stack.
Joking about cycles. They're not talking about bicycle riding like Coach Greg. The subject material alone is inappropriate for this age demographic.
Why is your ass jiggle like that, nigga?
Why are you slapping my ass in the first place?
You slap my ass all the fucking time.
No, I fucking don't.
Yes, you fucking do.
Why is it that all you young folk, 15-year-olds and so on, why to act like this? This is your role models? This is what you want to become? Talking this way? This is the subject material of discussions? When I was a teenager, I was talking about how to improve my bike racing, how to swim faster, to run faster, how to shoot more threes during basketball, how to put on more muscle, the latest articles that I had read in muscle magazines, and how in the future I was going to be a bodybuilder. I didn't talk like this. Like, what has happened to the world? Eric has mentioned that he was once 240 pounds, but he's now 230. Is it possible that he's reduced his doses, that he's decided to hop off, that he regrets his decisions?
Exposing Eric English's cycle. That's such a tough video. Cut
What the fuck is going on?
This is where Eric addresses the steroid allegations. What made him decide to hop on? Who is in fact to blame?
What are they saying? You got groomed?
Yeah, and he said I was...
Older people have the responsibility to tell younger people to not follow in their footsteps. If you're, for example, 20 years old and you're hanging around with somebody who's 14 and you're saying, hey, are you ready to do the steroids? Are you ready to hop on? Do you want to take some SARMs in the future?
Is that something that you're willing to do in the future?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, whatever it takes?
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. That's the mindset I had.
Are you ready to do whatever it takes? For example, what Larry Wheels said, or perhaps it's Young LA, going to all those events with the Trend Twins, with Togi and other influencers, where people are open and encouraging of that certain type of lifestyle. Is that not grooming? Replace the use of performance-enhancing drugs with doing certain things, certain acts. And if older individuals convince younger ones who are underage to do those things, then can you not see the parallel?
Yeah, I mean,
like
you take
you.
L-carnitine, they take creatine. It's a big difference.
And so what's interesting is that Eric admitting to taking performance-enhancing drugs has now been deleted from the video. But thanks to the internet is forever. And so just because it's been deleted, I have the footage right here. If you just watch this video, you wouldn't see them admitting anything, joking around, perhaps a little bit suspicious, but there is no admittance to taking steroids. But are you ready for this?
No way, grass was found out to be green, or in other words, Eric English exposed himself for being a fake natural. Is anyone surprised?
What are they saying? You got groomed?
Yeah, and he said I was... Yeah.
Oh, no, you're still strong. I can feel it in your hands. Pull through my
They're
hand
all
like
saying
that.
like they're blaming Young LA for sponsoring you and like putting you on a pedestal and shit.
There you go.
But bro,
If I wasn't on Young LA...
Wow, is anyone surprised? No, no one's surprised at all. Now, the interesting thing is he says, oh, if I wasn't with Young LA, I'd be taking more. But Young LA literally sponsors IFBB pro bodybuilders and influencers that are completely open about their steroids and sometimes recreational drug use. Now, the thing is, if you actually go back to the original video which that clip was taken from, it seems to not exist anymore. This is how it ends now.
What are they saying? You got groomed?
Yeah, and he said I was...
Oh, no, you're still strong. I can feel it in your hands. Pull through my
they're
hand.
all making videos, like promoting
you're
YouTube.
stronger
Like
though.
they're
You're
making
way
videos
stronger
off of
though.
YouTube. Y'all know, like I arm wrestled last time.
And so that just makes me think that because they're a bunch of young guys, they probably thought it was funny, posted it, didn't think much of it, then realized when people started talking about it, the repercussions that could come from this stuff, ended up going in the YouTube editor and cutting that part out because you could edit the YouTube video even once it's uploaded to the public. But it is quite a cook situation. What do you think of it? Are you surprised?
If I wasn't on Young LA, I would be taking more. AK, he is taking steroids, SARMs, and so on. But if it wasn't for Young LA, perhaps they encourage him not to do so, or perhaps they even have a contract saying, hey, we recognize that you're only 14 years of age, and so one thing we require from you to be sponsored is to not tell anyone whether or not you're taking steroids. They might have worded it that if you're shown to be taking steroids, proven perhaps, that we will unfortunately have to let you go. I don't know any of these things. But what I do know is that you can't just blame Young LA for Eric deciding what he decides to put into his body. Now, if they said, we're not going to sponsor you or we're going to let you go unless you do in fact take steroids, then that would be totally different, but there's no proof of that. I don't believe that to be true. And remember, they've been sponsoring for a long time, well before he was actually taking steroids. And so I don't think we can put the blame on Young LA, but again, he is in fact a minor, and so the responsibility does have to go somewhere, but I don't think we can put it solely on the shoulders of Young LA. Listen, they're a business, they're trying to make money. They should be trying to tell him, hey, we notice you put on 100 pounds on your bench press. We notice a lot of influencers suggesting that you're probably on steroids. And we want you to know that we don't need you on steroids. In fact, we prefer you not to be on steroids. This isn't a good look for our brand. Now, if you are natural, hey, keep doing your thing. But we would just like to make sure that you realize that this company, Young LA, we don't need you on anything. In fact, we prefer you to be natural. We prefer you to promote training natural, being natural, everything natural, because you have a very young audience and we want you to be a positive influence and role model to the world. We don't want you to copy in the footsteps of, for example, the Trend Twins or Togi or other people promoting steroids. And even though those athletes do exceedingly well, perhaps making millions of dollars, we don't want you to do that because you're just too young. Now, as an adult, adults are going to do what adults are going to do, but you're a teenager. And so whose fault does it lie on? I believe it's the parents. I believe that whoever has custody of the child, whether it's parents, guardians, siblings, whoever, I don't care. It's their responsibility to look after the health and well-being of a minor. And so, if you knowingly allow a child, or even unknowingly, you don't ask any questions. You don't take that child to the doctor upon suspicion of taking steroids. You don't look after their medical records. You don't actually care. You don't actually try. Then to me, that is neglect. Clearly, the kid's just trying to cope with immense grief. Poor guy. Hope he does well in bodybuilding if that's his dream. I'm sure his mom would have been proud. It's such a sensitive topic, and I want to be sensitive to people's feelings and emotions and so on. But just because something horrific has happened in your life, for example, the passing of a loved one, a parent, a friend, whoever, it doesn't mean that you should be taking recreational substances, abusing steroids, or going on a negative path. A lot of people in this world have reasons to do a whole bunch of things. They've been given a poor deck. They have cancer as teenagers. A loved one, perhaps a parent, has passed away at far too young. And they don't know how to deal with this. The way to deal with this is not through the abuse of recreational substances, whether it's steroids, whether it's sniffing creatine, whether it's doing meth, drinking alcohol, none of these things. That is not how you cope with stress. And if you don't know how to, as a parent, and if you don't have a parent, you're older, you go and see a counselor, a psychologist, somebody who's trained to deal with how do you cope. You don't just turn to alcohol, turn to steroids, turn to abusing whatever. And so if you know anyone on performance-enhancing drugs, whether it's your kids or yourself, please go to AlgoRx, get your blood work done, find out how much damage you're actually doing and see if there's anything you do to remedy these things. Do you in fact need to hop off cycle? Do you need enclomiphene? Do you need HRT? Do you need talmosartan? The list goes on and on. It's all about risk mitigation. Do whatever causes the least harm. If you want to be sponsored by HDLT Supplements, click the link in description to cookbooks. If you want to be coached by myself or my team, or if you want to carry all the supplements in your stores and or gym, there's links for everything. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algo, go to AlgoRx, obviously watch one of those two bloops, and until next time, I am out.